Welcome back. Now it's time for the discuss segment, and as you know, today's Thursday we'll be discussing health, everything related to health, and today we have something different. As always, we are talking about kitchen health tips, how to keep your kitchen safe and clean for cooking, so that whatever you bring up from the kitchen is safe to eat, basically. And we'll not be doing this alone. We have here with us Feyisayo Aiyepola. Thank you for joining us.
I hope she pronounced it correctly first.
Yeah, she did.
Thank you for joining us. It's good to finally have you on the program.
Yes, you're looking.
She's a celebrity. We've been making efforts, you know, to reach her. But PA has been giving us headache and saying she's busy and all of that.
No,
but
it's not that
Grace, what's that smile? All right. So like Grace said earlier on, we're going to be talking about healthy kitchen tips to keep your kitchen healthy. Now, this came on the back of some of the things that we do in Nigeria that we do not pay attention to. And I was speaking to somebody, I think maybe about 3 weeks ago, and the person mentioned something that it didn't mean anything to me, because something I've been doing, like it's a normal lifestyle for me. I don't know if you guys do it. But the person was talking about keeping the kitchen healthy for cooking. Now, he said, do you know that you're not supposed to put, let's say you have a frozen piece of chicken. Okay. You can't put it on the cabinet. After putting it on the cabinet, you remove it and now put a piece of fried food on the cabinet that you're going to contaminate the already cooked one with the jams. Grace, what is that? I can see the way Faye is looking at me like, you people like problem. And when she said it, I was like, excuse me?
Right.
What's my business with that? Like, I just finished cooking this meal. Does it matter? But she said that many of these things we don't pay attention to it in this part of the world, probably because of the way we were raised, and our parents did not have mentality or flair for those kind of things. And slowly those things are contributing to our health status. Although I can argue that, but so that it doesn't look like I'm countering myself on this program today, let's start with the kitchen health tips today.
Yeah.
Now, there was a time, sometime in 2018, I went to somebody's house. I visited someone, and they had a trash can in the kitchen. Now, the trash can, they threw in both decayed food and plastic bags. And in my own house where I was raised, although my mom was quite learned, but it wasn't like we were the Ajebo kind of family. But in my house, you are not allowed to throw decayed food in the trash can in the kitchen. Now, I got to this person's house and the kitchen was smelly. And it wasn't smelly because maybe the decayed food has been there for days. It's just maybe like 3 days or 2 days old trash can. And now that thing was smelly and I felt irritated personally. Now, a lot of people don't know that when you have a trash can at home, you're supposed to throw, especially in the kitchen, you're supposed to throw it out daily, every morning. And if you're one of those who throw in rotten foods, or even food that is not rotten, you know, some people will eat, I don't know, some call it eating classy. When you eat, you leave some crumbs in the plate. I don't know the meaning of that. I finished the last grain of rice in my own plate. I don't know about you guys.
Why not?
So some people will do that and then they have to throw it in the trash can. Now, a lot of people tend to leave the trash can like that, maybe for 2 days, 3 days, some even one week. Some people will not throw it out from Saturday to Saturday. They believe Saturday is a day for house cleaning, so they will not throw it out. But now, what they don't know is that people who have children, who have young children that are maybe under 5, under 2, the children will probably go there, touch things, touch the germs and every virus or whatever is in that place, and see use the same hand to eat. I remember one of my family friends some time ago, the daughter, who was like maybe 6 years old, was begging the mom for milk for her baby, for her younger brother's milk. Like, mommy, give me milk, mommy, give me milk. While she was doing mommy, give me milk, we just said, "Hucks him." And she still stretched the same hand. And the mom is a nurse. The mom was like, "Get out of my face, go and wash the hand." She did not know. So imagine that kind of child going to the trash can. Maybe while she was trying to do something, she just, maybe the piece of meat mommy gave her fell towards the trash can. She's just going to go there, pick it up and continue eating. And then she'll get infection. And you start wondering, this baby has been stooling for 3 days. You won't know what the cause is. So a lot of people don't pay attention to managing the dirt in the area. Let me allow Feyi react to that.
I feel it is advisable to throw your leftovers.
Right.
Like what I do at home is, once they are leftover food, I put it inside a nylon.
Okay.
Tie it first before throwing into the trash can. And
most
times, if I feel that
contains
yes, exactly. So I feel that even if I don't have the time to go outside and throw it, that will still reduce the smell, especially if the trash can doesn't have a cover.
Right.
So sometimes you can just walk into a kitchen and the kitchen is all clean and all, but you still
have that
this smell. So it is coming from the trash can. So if you can't, I advise to just throw it out immediately. But if you can't, just put it inside a nylon and throw it in the trash can and cover it also. So that way,
you know that this smell also can go into the air, and the air will convey all the germs and whatever else is there and just spread it around. Let's move on to the next tip, Grace.
Yes, so the next tip here says that wipe up spills immediately, and that's a major thing, because many times when cooking is ongoing, the mind is always on the cooking. Let me just finish whatever it is, and then I will clean up afterwards. That's many times. So we see spills all over. Probably groundnut oil spill, palm oil spill.
Even soup. When the soup is boiling, especially this our home obe. When it's boiling, you just have this splash. Or you're frying fish and the fish just poof.
And many times when you are done cooking, you'll be extremely tired, and then you're like, okay, once I'm done eating, then I'll do cleaning. And most times at the end of the day, we end up not cleaning the walls or the kitchen basically. And for 1 day, the second day, third, 4 days, and a week later, you realize that the spill is actually very hard to clean up, and then you start having build up of so many spills of germs that have many people didn't clean. So it's a very important thing. Personally, I do not even like to see spills. I don't like it at all. Once I see something, I just clean it immediately. The walls majorly, because in my kitchen we have white white towels, and so it is very evident once there's a spill. You can see it in every corner.
So you have to will show you as a dirty person.
Yeah, so you have to clean it immediately, and then not just on the wall, still on your whether you use your cooker, your gas, whatever it is you are using. You also need to clean. When you boil rice, sometimes the rice in Nigeria has it's starchy most times. So once it's boiling, the whole starch might just spill over the pot and then gets into the gas. Once it's dry, you literally see the whole it's dry, and then you see everything all over the gas. So you need to clean off immediately, and it's something that many people do not even really pay attention to, and that's why you see things get bad immediately. Not the gas cooker gets bad, it
begins to rust.
It gets rusty immediately, and these are part of the issues.
Let me allow Grace. Feyi react to that.
But I feel once you see this thing immediately, try to clean it, because you're saying let me go and eat and come back. For me, once I eat, I get tired.
I just want to bed and lay down.
So once you see this thing, just clean it. And sometimes when you leave it for a long time, this thing might become permanent, and you just disfigure the old. I know some people's gas. If you see their gas, especially those that cook directly on top of the gas, the whole body peels, and that's as a result of spilling water, everything. So I just feel that once you see it, it won't take you a minute. Just wipe it off. And
I totally agree with both of you, but I think a lot of Nigerians get carried away with the mindset that I'm going to clean it later, like Grace said. For somebody like me, initially when I was growing up, I was raised to clean when you are done cooking. But I think somewhere along the line, probably after university, if I'm not mistaken, I realized that method was not working for me. The reason was because I realized that I'm kind of like, I don't know, they said, some people say it's being naturally lazy. I don't know whether there's such a thing, but you don't really have the urge to do things later. You have the tendency to procrastinate. So I realized that I'm better off cleaning it immediately. While I'm cooking, the rice is boiling. In fact, before I start cooking and I know that I'm going to cook rice, I've added oil to the water.
Exactly.
So that it doesn't spill over. Then I'm frying fish. I don't care whether the gas is hot. I have like 2 or 3 foams and the one separate sponge that I used to wipe. So
Yes.
immediately as the oil is doing, the fish is making poof, I'm also doing my own wiping, because I know that I do not want to come back to do that, because once I leave that place and I go to eat, I just want to lay down. Now, it now became so much a habit that when I now got to a certain stage, I don't want to, there's a way I want to see my kitchen when I'm coming back inside.
Yes.
Whether I just went to the toilet to pee or I just went upstairs to pick something and I'm entering back into the kitchen, there's a way I want to see it. There's a mental image I have of my kitchen. So if it's anything short of that standard,
then
I would not be pleased with myself. So that encourages me to fix it immediately. I've been to people's kitchen that
You know,
you will see some of these things. You know that it's soup, maybe a goosey or maybe omiobe or whatever, but this thing is there and it's just rigid and you're just wondering.
It's very hard to
even if the person
right.
Even if the person cleans it, it might
not go again. It might not come off again.
Another part of of cleaning up spills is even the cover of the pot. Once you boil something, you realize that the spills will get to the pot inside. I'm talking about the inside the cover.
Yes.
So you need to wash up immediately. Just once you're done cooking,
you know, some people leave that thing like that. Some people leave those things until the soup is finished.
And
the dry ones will be there,
and you keep on warming. You're actually just cooking germs. It's not good at all. Even the side of the pot, take a small foam, clean the side. You know, when you are cooking, use your spoon to just wipe.
Then also, I think another important tip to help people is that I realized on my own that the more you control the temperature of the fire, the less likely, depending on what you're cooking. Sometimes there are some foods that if you increase the temperature, it will save the food from splashing out. And in some cases, for example, like our red stew, once the soup has boiled to a certain temperature and it has started spilling, just turn it down. Then it will maintain that heat. So, and it will still cook it evenly and still thicken the soup up. So some of those tips are things that will just guide you. Then speaking of pot covers, there's this thing for those of you that don't use non-stick pans or all these glass cover pots. That those of you or those of us that still have the iron pots, the normal pots that our mothers used to use. You see, the handle of the cover usually absorbs soup, starch, and that thing gathers around the handle. It forms this very thick, black, disgusting dirt that a lot of people don't even know that it is dirt. They just get used to it and it stays there for life. So those kind of things, it even affects your food. Now some people don't know. You just find that later as you're cooking with that pot, the food that you just cooked maybe an hour ago will just go sour. And you'll be wondering what caused it. Is the germs that have already, the sour germs that are already, in the cover of the pot. So those kind of things, when you're washing regularly, use your sponge to wash every nook and cranny, every corner. If you already have the ones that is already thick and very dirty, go and look for a stick of broom. And just try to scrape it out. So once you clean it, then you now know that regularly you just have to wash it. Then I think about another thing about cleaning of these utensils is the pots. Some people don't know how to, or they don't pay attention to. You see some people's pot, you'll be looking at, they just pack soup inside this pot because the pot has now become so stained that you can no longer see the silverness that came with the pot when they manufactured it. So those are the things that we just have to take cognizance of when it comes to taking care of the kitchen. I think another part that I would like to talk about is cross-contamination from cutting boards. Now, and many of us don't use cutting boards at home, because many people just, when you want to slice your vegetables like this, or your carrots, you just do like this, or whatever. So, but for those of us that use cutting boards and all of that, we need to clean it properly. You cannot put meat where you are washing vegetables. I think that's one of the things I mentioned earlier as a testimony at the beginning of production. So you find that a lot of people just, the chicken is here, bam, fish here, bam, raw meat here. They just put everything together. And there's a reason why many of these things are being separated, because there are some germs that when they move to a particular food, they don't die. They tend to thrive when they move to those kind of foods. And okay, for example, you want to eat a piece of chicken. Let's say the piece of chicken, before they killed it, already has bird flu or already has a type of germ. And you put that piece of chicken, the same place where you are cutting your carrot or your ugu or your efo, the what's it called? Your carrot contaminates the germs. And don't forget that carrot is a vegetable that while you are cutting, many people tend to want to throw it in their mouth. So which means that you directly eat that carrot, and then you start purging. You start wondering, where did food poisoning come from? How did I get food poisoning? So, but people tend to get carried away when it comes to cross-contamination, especially in Nigeria. We don't really care. The same man that we used to carry fish is what we used to take dodo and put in our mouth. But I think those things are just things that we should take care of. Grace?
Yeah, the next one here says, this is something that many people don't even pay attention to. It's like the littlest detail in the kitchen, but we do not always pay attention to it. It says, replace or clean your sponge often. Now, right. After we had 5 years, 4 years, even you know, the iron sponge that used to store the back of the pot. Oh my God!
I think last year when I came back from Abuja, I visited someone, and I was going to wash plates in the kitchen. Immediately I touched the sponge. You know, there's a way sponge is supposed to be light when it's new. When it gets old, they've been using it for a year, 2 years, 3 years. It becomes very heavy and kind of oily and slimy. And when I even cut it, I didn't even notice the heaviness initially. But when I added soap to the sponge, I realized that the soap was not, the lather was not forming. That means it was not foaming, what we call foaming in Nigeria. There was no lather. I shall see, this is normal dishwashing soap now. Why is it so difficult? But I just managed. Then I realized I just squeezed out the sponge. Then I saw that was when I noticed that, oh, it was heavy. And usually sponges, when they're new or maybe like a month, 2 months old, they are usually light. It's not supposed to be heavy. That was when I realized the oiliness, and
then when
I just marched into the parlor and said,
you must change this.
How long have you been using this sponge? Said, that sponge, this sponge lasts for using it for like 4 years. I said, what?
I feel that people don't really pay attention to that because they feel that it's already clean. I don't need to change it again. And that they feel that the soap they add to it is already clean.
Washing it.
Exactly. So
but it's not like that. It also absorbs its own dirt. It's almost like our towels.
I mean, people do not dry out their sponge once they are done. It's
wet. Just literally
a container and keep it there.
It's better to spread it on the window.
You spread it to make sure you rinse out the soap.
Yes,
because the build up of different, soap from today, tomorrow, the other day, and all.
And
different food. So you in your sponge you can see vegetables in it.
Bones, if you're not careful, you see
so you need to, once you're done washing, you dry it out, you rinse it again and then dry it out, at least so that can help probably kill everything that it definitely won't kill all the germs in it, but it will save you. But if possible, every month you can get a sponge is at most 100 naira, or at most 200. If you want to buy maybe the luxurious ones, you can get 500.
No, the luxurious ones starts from 5K.
5K. But if you want to get regular sponge, you can just get it for about 200 naira. So every month,
change it every 3 months or 2 months.
This is a call, and this is a call that a call to action that if you have sponges for over 2 years, even 1 year in your
kitchen, 3 months.
Over 3 months in your kitchen right now, please, today is the day to change it. Once you step out of your house now,
I'm sure someone is out there wondering why the soap is not working. It's not that the soap is not working. It's the sponge.
And even the iron sponge, many people will use it up to the point where
until you have
people start to remove.
All right, let's take the last one. We have a lot more to share, but our time is fast spent, so this will be the last one, which is cleaning out of the freezer and sorting out the items in the freezer. I'm adding the sorting part because some people don't know the order in which things should be in the freezer. Some of you will put your kitchen on your mayonnaise and put your...
I would want to let me be an advocate for those set of people. Many times we always need partitioning tools or something. I don't know, they are the bowls and all of those things. And right now, to even get that, I'm just trying to advocate for them. It's not cheap. You see so many.
I don't agree with Grace. When you go out for parties,
see many
they give
house
you takeaways
organizations
almost every weekend.
Okay, and then we
That
just fill it up and then arrange it in your fridge.
Yes, and if you are not a vendor, there are some type of freezers that you should not be using. If you are not buying things in wholesale, and you are not a vendor, maybe you are not selling soft drinks and all of that, all these chest freezers are not really good for home use. You're better off using the standing one where you can arrange your things. In fact, in most cases, some of them will even come with bowls and all of these things that you need to pack your food. That's if you are buying it new. But if you are not buying it new, you can just use takeaways and all of that to pack your food. Grace, your advocacy did not work.
Okay, anyways, it's not bad to use.
And you can also use nylons. All these leather parts.
Yes.
Some people don't have access to that, but you can use the normal black nylon. Tie it and keep your.
I remember going to somebody's house and then opening the freezer, the smell of locust beans hits me.
Look at that! Can you imagine?
Or you put pure water, you put stew or soup, and then
smelling fish and onions and come on. And then we have I remember a certain guy came on social media some time ago to complain that he has 2 girlfriends, and that 2 women that he wants to marry, that one is sexy and she's beautiful, that whenever she cooks finish, you don't smell anything on her, the food is always delicious and all of that. While the other one, she cooks better than the first one, but whenever she comes out of this kitchen, she's always smelling locust beans, onions, fish and pepper and all of that. So I just think that it's all these things are important. You also have to clean out your fridge. Clean your fridge.
Yes.
There are some people that the corners of the
oh my god.
Oh my god.
Some people that even put frozen foods in the fridge. By the time they bring it out, or maybe there's no light for
some days.
They just bring out, do whatever it is, and return.
Return it like that. You don't pay attention to. No, come on. Once you put things in your fridge, pay attention to them. I think there are some countries where some of the families, even in Nigeria, there are people that put dates on the items in the fridge, so that they will know how long it has stayed, so that they will know that once you see it, once you're opening the fridge, maybe you went there to take locust beans or you went there to take onions, you see the cabbage that is already spending 10 days, then you know that okay, this thing is likely to have rotten or something, then you take it out or boil it. And sometimes you don't necessarily, some people are just lazy. For example, what Feyi said now, that some people would keep their frozen food, and when there's no light, they'll still leave it there like that.
It's also when
it's something that you know that once there's no light for more than 24 to 48 hours,
you
have to take it out and boil it.
After all, you're doing that, put it there.
Put it there. Then if light comes back again, you can put it back boiled. If you see that okay, there's no light again, you bring it out again, fry it. There are a lot of methods to keep your food, to preserve food. But I hope our viewers at home listens to all of this. Thank you so much, Feyi, for joining us.
Thank you so much.
This segment. All right, viewers, this is where we call it a wrap on this segment of Daybreak Africa. We're not done with you yet. We're going to break now. When we return, the Daybreak Africa continues.